Is Sunnyside the paradise? Oh, God, I fucked it up.
Paradise. He went all Brooklyn.
I went all West Country. Paradise. Is Sunnyside the paradise? Fuck. Is Sunnyside the paradise? He just
spit some coffee everywhere.
It's because I'm saying Sunnyside and paradise.
Oh, shit.
Hello, you are listening to Off Radar, It's a Movie podcast. I'm James Smith, a professional film and video editor.
I'm James Eatock, a freelance writer and illustrator specialising in 1980s cartoons.
And I'm Neil Brock, aka NIGE, the man with two names, former film journalist and currently working in the games industry.
Each week, one of us picks a movie that all three of us either haven't seen in many years or in some cases haven't seen at all.
We each watch the chosen movie, return to the microphone and let you all know exactly what we thought of it.
I'd never really had any interest in watching it and I was proved absolutely right.
I think it's amazing. I really, really love this film.
The film's still a pile of steaming dog shit.
If you fancy joining in and suggesting a movie for us to watch, why not tweet us at Off Radar Podcast
or email us on offradarpod@gmail.com.
If you like what you hear, please subscribe, share, and by all means, leave a review.
For now, strap in, turn the volume up, and let's go Off Radar.
Do it.
Hello. I've got the giggles. Welcome back to Off Radar. I am James Smith, as always. And with me, as always, is James Eatock.
I am James Eatock, as always.
And Neil Brock.
To Nigel and beyond.
Who we call Nige. He's not Neil Brock always.
What you've got to do, Smith, go into the edit, add an echo on Nige there when he says that.
To Nigel and beyond. To Nigel and beyond. To Nigel and beyond.
Today we are doing a film. When did Toy Story 3 come out? I did not write that down. 2010. Toy Story 3, which came out in 2010. So I recommended we do this film because Toy Story 5 is coming out.
Wait. Hang on. Wait, is there a 4?
Yes.
I totally missed 4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was going to make a comment about this as we go on. Like,
there was a 4.
4 came out in 2019.
And I was like, this only came out a few years ago. I was so confused about everything.
So Toy Story 4 came out in 2019, the one with Keanu Reeves and the little forky thing in. Maybe you've seen
Reeves is in it? What is going on? Oh my God.
It's kind of set in an antique store, but I basically had no... I just didn't remember it at all.
You didn't remember it either? Okay.
I didn't even know it existed.
I've seen it, but I was just like, And then this film, I was like, didn't this only come out like a few years ago? I was very confused.
Right, wow.
Yeah, so first up, obviously we know what this one is, hopefully. Had we seen this one before we did it for the pod, Eatock?
Yeah, went to cinema to see this.
Oh.
Had seen the first one on VHS.
VHS?
In
that's mad.
Yeah. Well, like it was a friend's son who had it. Like, I was a big Pixar fan.
You stole it off him, didn't you?
Well, no, we went around his house, like my friend's house. He's like, went around his house, and he was like, he's got Toy Story. Like, okay, let's watch that. And we I think I either borrowed it or we sat down and watched it right there. And I was like, that's pretty cool. Never saw Toy Story 2. Still haven't seen it.
You've never seen Toy Story 2?
No.
What?
And then 3 came out, and I was like, no. My friends and I were like, well, let's go and see it.
Eatock only watches the odd-numbered Toy Stories. So he's going to go to the cinema to watch Toy Story 5.
Yeah.
It's like, is it like Star Trek's where only like the odd or the even ones are good? So it's not worth seeing the other ones?
Even 2,
really?
4, and that's
oh, wow, I'd never heard that theory.
But yeah, no, I saw this at the cinema, and yeah, it was one of those where it's like a very memorable experience, put it that way.
Nige?
I have seen Toy Stories 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. I've seen all the Toy Stories so far. This one I saw at home. I did see the original Toy Story at the cinema.
Did you?
Yeah, way back when. I've got a feeling I may have seen the second one at the cinema, but I can't honestly remember. It's one of those things, like, I feel like I've always felt they're extremely memorable films, and I've always felt that the stories are sort of quite simple to follow, yet, well, as we'll go into, I have no real recollection of when I saw 3 or 4. Can barely remember when I saw 2. It feels like I'm just being like, everyone, my memory is slowly disappearing. But yeah, it's one of those films that I watched at home, but there was nothing to kind of sink that memory in of why I watched it or anything beyond. I was like, oh yeah, I watched that.
You watched
and that
it.
was it. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But I don't think I'd seen it since. And as I was saying, I couldn't believe it was 16 years ago. I'm like, I felt like this film came out a couple of years ago. And
absolutely.
yet it's like, anyway.
So when Toy Story 4 came out, I went back and watched 1, 2, 3. So I saw them probably, a few years ago, 2018 or so. But I had only ever seen all three of these films kind of at home. I can't even remember when I saw the first one, but the second.
Oh, you definitely had frosted tips.
Oh, it's definitely
frosted tip
and a cowboy hat.
FT Smith. Yeah.
But yeah, so
there was an article in Empire magazine about Toy Story 2, and I remember it. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they touted it was the first digitally projected film in at least the UK. That was their kind of big thing. It was like digital projection. It's like, what? And then the next, I remember that's just
next one was Swordfish.
Well, and then they cancelled cinema.
It's dead. No more.
But Toy Story 3, interestingly, was made and shown in 3D. So I don't know if
was it
when you saw it in 3D because that was 2010.
The intro lends itself to a sort of 3D action.
Do you know what? I think I saw it in 3D because my friends and I, we were doing. It wasn't like we must do, but it was just every time you went to the cinema, it was like, we're going to see a 3D movie, I guess, or the 3D version.
It was for 2 years. We talked about it a couple of times on this podcast. All of those big films that came out around that time seemed to be 3D.
Avatar was.
That was probably what we talked about. Yeah,
I think I've only ever seen 3 films in 3D, and
really
ever in animation. Yeah,
I saw so many pointless films in 3D.
Yeah, I saw
you coming, mate.
I think the IMAX, just kind of. But yeah, as you say, we have done a few. I guess if you want to go back into our animation sort of back catalogue, we've done a couple of Disney or Pixar films, Up and Wall-E.
Ones we've done, apart from the Lost Transformers.
We've done Transformers the movie,
which is
that's
our Lost episode.
The Lost episode.
Alternate
that's
universe.
An Easter egg in James Intox's.
It's the same place that Optimus Prime's trailer is.
We've also done, I guess, animation in general. We did obviously Who Framed Roger Rabbit last. Paddington 1 and 2, I guess, cross over into that sort of film, and The Lion King. Well, what do you call it?
Actually, no, Nige is right. It's live action with 3D elements. It's not an animated film.
That's like saying any film with special effects, like Lord of the Rings is an animation.
Ghostbusters.
But they're apps. Well, it's a bit like whatever. All right, well, Paddington 1 and 2 we've done anyway.
Go and listen to all our podcasts, but don't necessarily classify.
But don't listen to that if you don't want to listen to animation.
So you should do more standard ones. Do like Land Before Time or All Good Dogs Go to Heaven, or
more traditional 2D animation.
Sure.
Secret of NIMH or whatever it was called.
Secret of NIMH, with Don Bluth,
And we should do a Studio Ghibli one because we have not done
Yes,
before.
Oh my God, definitely. What a great shout, Smith.
Directed by Lee Unkrich, who looked him up before, and I hadn't really heard of him, but interestingly, he was the original editor on Toy Story 1 and 2. So he wasn't a director, and he did additional voices in both of them. And then he kind of, wanted Toy Story 3 was his directed, and he...
Without looking, I guarantee that he's probably Pixar... Like he was there at the beginning in the 80s. That's my guess. He was working on Knick Knack and all these Tin Toy and all these. That's my guess. Is that if he was editing on the first? Oh no, Nigel's saying I'm wrong.
He joined in 1994 apparently on a short-term contract. He did several years in TV. Did cinematic arts at the University of Southern California in 1990.
But if you look at his directing and writing credits, there's barely any. Toy Story 3 and Coco was the other one. But he's mainly worked as an exec or a producer, and kind of he's involved in a lot of the kind of Pixar films that follow, but not necessarily like in the same way. He's got, in fact, Coco 2, which comes out in 2029. He's down
2029. They're predicting movies now.
Well, the running time for Pixar films is very long. Like the development time on this one, in terms of creating the script and everything else, you're talking like 3 or 4 years. So yeah.
Written by Michael Arndt, who you might recognise. He wrote Little Miss Sunshine.
Smith's favourite movie.
Well, it's up there.
Definitely up there,
Oblivion, Hunger Games, Catching Fire.
I hated Oblivion.
We've talked about that, I swear, maybe on the Edge of Tomorrow podcast.
Is Oblivion the Matt Damon film?
No, Tom Cruise
and someone really
space.
good in it as well.
I can't really remember it.
It's the one where I think everybody gets confused with the other Tom Cruise film, sci-fi film around the same time that we did, Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah. Andrea Riseborough, I can never pronounce her name. She's really good and only did like independent films, and then basically did that with Tom Cruise and was like, I'm never doing a big film.
Oh, really?
Oh God.
So I don't think it's necessarily Tom Cruise's fault. I think it was just everything that comes with it. Morgan Freeman was in that as well. It's so bad.
He also wrote or helped out on Star Wars Force Awakens, so quite a bizarre mix of films there.
There's a Hunger Games film,
couple of Hunger Games
credits.
So interesting that he wrote this. I imagine it's alongside all the people that developed Toy Story 1 and 2, though, you would
absolutely. Yeah.
He's also listed as an assistant on the Inspector Gadget film from 1999. What he assisted in, I have no idea. Maybe like extending Gadget's arm. Just
go Gadget,
Go Gadget. Yeah. Voices from, I'll list these off. Tom Hanks, who we have got an up-and-coming podcast on discussing our top 6 Tom Hanks films, obviously as Woody, Tim Allen as Buzz, Joan Cusack as Jessie, and I think in Toy Story 5, the story, without giving too much away, apparently centres around her character more. But yeah, you need to watch 2 and 4 first.
Who's that? What?
Don Rickles, who is Mr. Potato Head. Estelle Harris, who is Mrs. Potato Head. Wallace Shawn, Rex.
Inconceivable from Princess Bride.
Oh, really?
Well, I know him as like, it's quite funny. He does so much in the last few months. I've discovered how many animated voices he did in like just random cartoons. I'm watching it, I'm like, that's that guy who's got the voice that's in The Princess Bride, and he's in this film, and he's in that film. And my mother at the moment, she's watching some show called Young Sheldon, which is based on apparently the show is very good.
Big Bang Theory.
But it's not the Big Bang, thank God. It's like a different take on it, because it's not, live studio audience is not that whole thing, but it's very heartfelt. But he's in that, and I was like, it's that guy again. And in that film, he's opposite Annie Potts, who wasn't she Little Bo Peep in the first 2 movies?
Yeah,
maybe?
She did the voice. Yeah, and she came
there you go.
Back for the 4th one. Spoiler.
Wow. Okay.
She's in the 4th. Oh wow.
Spoiler. Sorry.
Spoiler.
Yeah, she doesn't get killed off. Yes, Ned Beatty, who is Lotso, the furry dinosaur thingy.
Oh wow. Oh yeah. Wait, Ned Beatty's the dinosaur.
Did we discuss Ned Beatty in something else?
Yeah, he's in Superman
Captain
2,
America.
isn't he?
Captain America.
Oh, that was what I remembered him from. The 1990 Captain America, yes.
He gets duped by Captain America's tummy trouble.
Oh, God, what a sin. Michael Keaton as Ken, who you might not kind of spot unless you know.
Is Michael Keaton? Oh, that's crazy.
Wait a minute. Ned Beatty plays Lotso, the bear.
I thought so. That's what I was going to say. That's
what I said.
Oh, I thought you said the dinosaur.
You said the dinosaur.
Oh, I meant the bear, the purple bear.
That's what confused me. Yeah.
Not the dinosaur. Sorry.
When you said the dinosaur, I was like, oh right.
You know what I said? I said the purple dinosaur. That's bloody Barney.
I was watching it different.
Yeah.
I love you. Jodie Benson, who is Barbie, and she, interestingly, was the original Ariel in A Little Mermaid.
She was. The voice, at least. Yeah. There was like an actual
not the actual character.
Well, no, there was an actress they used for the storyboarding who looked loads like Ariel. And there's like amazing videos of like seeing those two like do, and you can kind of see her do the pose and then how it's animated. It's amazing what they did for that.
And then John Morris as Andy, who obviously features. And I've done a very short synopsis of this film. And
don't toy ellipses. Just get it out there, yeah.
Oh, so he's done that.
Here we go. Andy has grown up. He's 17 and he's readying himself for college. Woody, Buzz and the rest of the gang realise that they are becoming redundant and in a terrible mix-up get thrown out in the rubbish. Before a certain hellish life in landfill, the toys escape and jump in a donation box heading to Sunnyside Daycare Centre. A nursery which seems like a toys utopia, played with, cared for and loved. But despite the bright colours, purple fuzzy bears and Ken's massive wardrobe collection, is Sunnyside the paradise the toys hoped for?
Now, come on, guys. We all knew this day was coming.
We're getting thrown away?
No, no one's getting thrown away.
We ain't ever getting played with.
Hold on, this is no time to be hysterical.
It's the perfect time to be hysterical.
Should we be hysterical?
Now,
Yes! Maybe, but not right now.
Come on, let's see how much we're going for on eBay.
New toys!
I'm gonna get played with!
Where's my nose?
Here it is.
Here's your arm.
Give me that. That's
Honey,
mine.
the mustache?
We will kick off with this first scene, which is this like Western-inspired train fighting thing where Woody is battling the potato heads, and you've got lots of little toys joining in. Hugely imaginative, and you're straight into this kind of opening title sequence that is, you'd be for seeing this in the start of like a Western or Back to the Future 3 or something like that.
Well, it's so cinematic. I was watching this just on my laptop, and I was like, bloody hell, I forgot just how cinematic this opening is. And obviously, as viewers of Toy Story 1 and 2, or in my case, Toy Story 1, you know what is happening. It's like, oh, this is an imagination come to life.
I kind of forgot to begin with. I was like, oh
really? No,
what's this?
I thought it was a great context for kind of like the whole. I mean, that's always been Toy Story's underlying
the
message,
imagination of kids.
Imagination can go so far, can take you to other worlds and other places. So seeing that as an opening is really awesome. And then it obviously cuts to them playing with the toys, and it's just like, that's perfect. That's a perfect opening for this.
You got a date with Justice, One-Eyed Bart.
Too bad, Sheriff. I'm a married man.
What we get something next that they would almost perfect with Up is a montage that tells a sequence of events over the course of time. Obviously with Up they turned it into like the most emotional impacting thing ever seen, next to Rocky.
Watch out! No, just keep playing. Just pretend I'm not here. Does the red light mean it's going?
It's how it's done as well. They shoot it like a home movie, so you see Andy growing up. And then, just there's that moment. I think it's such a really great idea when the film kicks in and we actually get, right, here's where the story begins. And they're in the toy box. You think, what are they doing in the toy box? And then it's like, right, we've got his phone. We basically call themselves, like Andy reaches for his phone and the toy box kind of discards the toys. Like, get the toys out of the way, I need to get to my phone. And I was like, that's such a great, not metaphor, but just...
the reality of a 17-year-old, basically.
Exactly, like the mobile, and especially in this day and age, like the mobile phone is king. And this is like 2010, and the mobile phone is so important.
That's what they do in all of these Toy Story films. They try and, bring relevance into how kids are interacting with different toys and imagination. And I think in the new one, which basically they've got a like an iPad sort of thing, so it's very relevant. But what I loved is, when Woody is discussing Operation Playtime, it's like Operation Playtime has failed because basically they're trying to like keep relevant and like that kind of, like you're saying about the kind of mobile phone or the moving on, and I think this is a really wonderful thing that they do in all of the Toy Story films that appeals to both adults and kids, is this sense of abandonment. And because the toys are being abandoned, this is quite a big issue when you think about, I don't know, like kids growing up and their parents moving out, divorcing, or you're moving out, and it's quite a big topic to kind of throw in. But these toys are being at that sense of stage in their life that they're being abandoned, and it's something that's subtly kind of hinted at, or throughout the whole franchise.
Well, for me, that scene connects.
Franchise, please. Sorry.
For me, that
I guess it is a franchise, though.
It is.
Like, if you
Disney own it, it's a franchise.
Yeah.
It's true.
The scene connects for me slightly differently. Obviously, I think that's, I understand what Smith's saying completely, but for me, it does connect to the fact that when I was growing up, that I still remember the moment I stopped playing with toys. I don't know if you guys ever remember that.
Because it was only yesterday.
Very, very good. But no, I distinctly remember, like, I was hugely into Ninja Turtles, and I was buying the toys. And I remember it being, I think I was like 13 years old or something. And I'd got like my Casey Jones figure, my Raphael figure, my Baxter Stockman figure, I had all the Panda Khan on my phone. Yeah, Cindy and Barbie. Had all these things. Had all these figures
undressed.
out. And I remember just like, this is going to...
Sorry,
have fun editing this. So I had all these figures out and I was like, right. And I remember just going like, oh, I can't do this anymore. It was really weird. It wasn't like a lack of imagination. It just generally felt weird.
I remember playing with like wrestlers. That was like my main thing. I had the ring. I had loads of the wrestlers. And I used to create like programs for like the pay-per-views or the shows. And I would like try and draw some terrible WWF type pictures and would just have them all and like have the cut, and I'd actually fight and I'd like throw them together and be like, oh, he's fallen over the top rope, he's out the Royal Rumble, that kind of thing. But I reckon I was in my 10, 11, 12, something like that kind of age. And you're right, it's like for the toys in Toy Story that they realise that they have become slightly irrelevant. But what's really interesting is like even when Andy's going to college, he takes Woody and kind of looks at him and thinks the college box. And like I've still got toys now that I wouldn't throw away. Yes, some are in the loft, but like in my old bedroom at my parents' house, I've still got like the teddy bear that I've had since I'm a kid. I've got an old like Owen Hart wrestler that's here with me and stuff like that. I've still got some of them that rather than becoming toys, they become more almost like figures that you have just like ornaments, display things. But obviously in Toy Story, when you've got these things that are essentially alive and they're so much part of it, it's a case of you kind of feel that attachment that Andy has for them and how time passes. And it's weird, like with his sister as well, because she gets asked to kind of put the toys in for Goodwill or whatever, and she's just like, yeah, whatever. Like she doesn't seem to have that same connection. And so Barbie goes straight into the box.
I did like, there was one thing that made me laugh because I was like, oh, this actually happened in my personal experience. The army guys are jumping out the window.
Yes.
Woody's like, where are you guys going? And he goes, we're the first to go. And I was like, oh my God. I remember
it is true.
My parents were so awesome at like, keeping my toys and stuff, even though I was disinterested. But the ones they sold or just gave away without my knowledge, really, because I wasn't that fixated on them, were the hand-me-down cowboys and Indians and army men from like my brother. They were like my brother's kind of hand-me-downs, and they were the little figures that were on the green bases, the little metallic green bases,
little plastic things.
It had so many of those, and they were literally, as the army guy says in this film, they were the first to go.
And I guess it is with those toys that they're all just the same, aren't they? They've not got their own personality, like say Woody or something. They're just like, oh, there's just a load of army guys, rather than something that actually nostalgia and means something to you.
The thing that always fascinates me about the way Toy Story is structured in terms of its toy-based cast is that there is such variety, and it shows that Andy is quite it sounds bizarre, like versatile thinker when it comes. When I was a kid, I don't know about you guys, I'm sure it applies to what Nige was just saying about wrestlers. When you played with your toys, I guess because we grew up at a time of branding, certain things, our toys were, these are your Transformers, these are your Ninja Turtles, these are your Masters of the Universe.
Cross, would they?
You didn't really cross them over. Like you could do the odd thing
cross
with
streams,
like,
occasionally I had like Superman and He-Man and stuff, like
the bootleg lines as well, like like Strong Man, and it'd be like all these bootleg lines, Snake Dude, and you'd be like, oh, he's going to come because he was cheap in the thing, I'll play with him.
Skeleton Man,
Skeleton. But the beauty of Andy's collection is there is such variety.
It's true,
and
actually.
It is kind of
Pork Chop being a supervillain, or what's he called? Dr. Pork Chop.
Dr. Pork Chop, something like that.
And it's like, the Mr. Potato Head. It feels so familiar because we've seen them, but I never had like that sort of toy, or even the kind of dinosaur thing and stuff like that. But it is a variety, and it's clever in that regard because I guess lots of different people have those sort of toys, and they're obviously Buzz Lightyear is as we've talked about on Jingle All the Way, weirdly, was like a made-up toy that then became like one of the biggest, kind of things to buy.
It is crazy though when you think about it, isn't it?
It never felt to me like Toy Story purposely created characters to be like, we can make tons of money.
Oh no, absolutely.
It was always like, this is part of the story. This is the type of toy, as you say, that's influenced from elsewhere. And I think there's a lot of films, like sort of cartoon-style films, where they take liberties and be like, oh yeah, this is going to be huge.
There's a wonderful scene. I'm trying to think where Woody is at this point, where there's like a kind of janitor guy, and he sees Woody like trying to get out of.
Oh, he's like in the mirror.
Mirror. I'm not sure where he is, but anyway,
that's his first escape, isn't it? Because essentially, they're in Sunnydale, and Woody wants to go back to college because he wants.
So
to
that he's already arrived. They've already arrived in Sunnyside at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But I suddenly, when we see that, and the guy sees like a smudge rather than Woody move, I'd never really thought about it. But the whole point of Toy Story is, at no point in my memory anyway, do humans ever see these toys move whatsoever in this film.
No.
And that is the closest moment I think you get to that, where you think, oh, he's seen him. And obviously he looks up and there's a little smudge on the window. But I can't think of another one in...
Well, in the second one, does not the collector man, does he not get like taken down by the toy? Again, I'm sure it's more like they set it up so he doesn't see. Doesn't go.
Yeah, I haven't
seen him. I'm guessing that's the way they would.
I think it's the rule. It'd be very easy to write this so that at some point within this, that's one of them, somebody sees them. It's almost harder to do that, if you know what I mean, because your storytelling has to be kind of that little bit more clever, so it can't be lazy and going, oh well, the humans have kind of, so it is Toy Story. It is about these toys. It's not necessarily about, I mean, humans have roles to play, don't get me wrong, but yeah, anyway.
I guess it's a common trope from like Pixar. Like you think about Inside Out, for instance. Like at no point does the characters inside the body ever speak to the actual body. It's almost kind of feels a little bit almost like Charlie Brown-esque in the sense of like you have the kids and you have the adults. And that kind of difference between them, and it's sort of clearly defined, and none should that ever be crossed. Although even in this film, Woody writes on a post-it notes and puts it on a box to kind of they can manipulate the humans, and likewise the fact they get the phone, as we mentioned. Like there are ways to kind of change humans' behaviour, but it's not outright. They're not just going to go and talk to them. And again, it's that kind of imaginary, that kids kind of world that adults aren't really sort of privy to. Like for the kids, they're always alive because they're constantly playing with them almost, like at that young age, albeit not actually seeing them physically get up and walk, which would probably give them like PTSD and therapy for the rest of their lives. Oh my god, my toys are alive. But
what the scene with like Woody trying to escape, he leaves because at this point everything in Sunnyside seems good, right? And then they're like the kids are going to come in and play, and they're all like really excited.
So he leaves them there.
And they all come racing back in, and then you get these scenes where they're just being absolutely, understandably, like kids, the toys are being chewed, they're being abused. It's hilarious.
It's so well done, isn't it? Because it's like that slow mo of the. It's so.
It's violence against the toys, but it's from a place of reality. It's not exaggerated. It's like these kids are so young. They're too young to use their imagination to play with. They're just like banging toys.
Just colours of things.
Yeah.
But the way that's kind of directed and put together, that scene is so good. It is, because it's like quite quick cut, and it feels like, oh, actually this story might get a little bit darker than where we've been before.
There's a few moments that make me laugh in that. Is that, but as like the toys, Buzz Lightyear and the gang, they kind of take their poses on the floor before the kids run in, and then Buzz notices that all the other toys are hiding, and he's like, huh? It's just like, what are we saying? Because obviously what I skipped over there was the whole introduction of Lotso, and I think that like some of the stuff he says, I wrote down one of his lines, which is, Lotso presents that this is like paradise. There's no owners means no heartbreak, which is like, that's a really nice line actually. It's like, no, you don't have an owner, you've got no heartbreak, but obviously there is a disassociation at that point. But
there's something about Lotso's backstory, because we kind of find that
we get that later.
That reminds me loads of like Batman Returns, the penguin bit, and like getting rid of the baby. The way it's kind of like stylized and shot a little bit. There's something actually really that just sort of ties it back to that. So it's quite unusual.
What I like about his presentation is that, I mean, they say he still they say he smells like strawberries still, but he's clearly been through a bit, because like he's dirty and beat up and he walks with a cane. But what I love in terms of a bit haggard, but what I love in terms of the character design is not just him. It's the big baby, isn't it? Big baby, I think Big Baby doll,
terrifying.
Has got like the lazy eye, and it's amazing because that entire creation is based in reality. We've all seen those little toys in shops and stuff, but we've also seen the broken ones at like car boot sales or flea markets, whatever you want to call it, where they've got like the eye that doesn't open properly and stuff. The fact that they incorporate that into this film and make that a character, like a henchman as it were, And it's so terrifying. I remember at the cinema when we were watching, like, we were just laughing because it's a brilliant piece of design to have this kind of giant baby enforcer that's like the most powerful character there, and just like it's got this lazy eye and just like
what I love about what you were saying there about Lotso is when we first meet him, the voice is so like warm and like he's got that
soothing,
dark, deep, and but you know, like the design again, like the fuzzy detail of the animation is so well done, especially 2010.
Like I said, I like the dirt on him though.
Yes.
I like all the his white bits or like the lighter areas are just got like they're slightly dirty, and it's just that attention to detail. It's like, my God, to think when they did that first Toy Story, they were like, we think we're going to try and do water, animate water. Was that such a big deal?
It's funny you mention that, actually, because Lotso, or a bear that kind of resembles Lotso, is in the first Toy Story, like up on a shelf.
Oh, is it really?
But they kind of realised that it was just, they had so many problems trying to get the fur right. They were like, we can't really utilise this character. And it was only this many years later, after the first film, they realised we can actually have a bear with that kind of the ability for his fur to physically move, and as you said, all those little tiny touches that we've talked about before in Disney, like those, and the same with like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the kind of things that people they spend so much effort on but you barely notice, but just give that sort of element of quality to it. And I mean, in the original idea for Lotso as well, rather than actually being that sort of recognisable fluffy toy, they were trying to get the rights to use like a Care Bear and have a Care Bear as the actual. But the idea was dropped like after the storyboard was done. But it could have been like almost like a strange crossover, I guess, of worlds. So
there's also something like, I don't know about you guys, I found it a bit like icky, and I guess that's the whole point, is that Lotso's kind of base of operations is the bathroom, like the toilets where all the kids
think of it.
Just like, watch out for puddles. It's kind of cold and, you know, a bit eerie kind of
thing.
It's
very prison-like, isn't it? And I think even the creators of this film said they watched like every prison film, and there's a few bits when they take Mr.
Like
Potato Head and put him in, put him into the sandpit. It reminded me so much of like the Great Escape when they take Steve McQueen into like the cell where he's bouncing the ball against the wall and stuff like that. And it's really got that old school Prison Break, that kind of 1960s style film. And I think Toy Story is made by people that understand the imagination of kids, but also understand the imagination that comes from like film and those influences.
Well, they love cinema.
Exactly.
That,
and like classic cinema as well. And there's so many like little nods and sort of little winks to certain aspects. I think this film and all the Toy Story films, at least the ones I've seen, do really well.
You'll never find us in here. What's wrong? We need a spaceship to get away from the wind.
Well, Woody's introduced the other toys, and like there's like a hedgehog, there's like a unicorn, and someone else, and
we do a lot of improv here.
That's the line I wrote down.
Sorry.
We do a lot of improv.
That's it's James perfect. Bond, isn't it? It's just the voice.
Really?
It's Timothy Dalton, isn't it?
Oh, is it really Timothy Dalton? Wow.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't even look that up in the credits. So as soon as I heard it, I was like, yeah, that's
I don't
Timothy
know
Dalton.
if he's even
Definitely.
on there. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
Maybe he's uncredited.
Maybe.
But yeah, that scene is really good because we get this. I haven't seen 2, and I can't remember much about 1. It's been a long time, but I don't think we ever really see other kids' imagination or like other kids' toys coming to life. So we get this different, you know, this is Bonnie's kind of gang of toys that play, and this is how they play. And it's obviously, you know, she's more about, her thing is all about ghosts and tea parties, whereas Andy's toys are all about like your typical boy action kind of, you know, with Bonnie it's more kind of I guess the basis way is say like it's a more girl orientated way of playing with toys. It's like they're all sat there, you know, having a tea party, whereas Andy's are like, we're having like a big fight and we're going on the west and stuff. So I love it when sorry, we're just on that little improv scene where, you know, she plays with Woody and then they kind of break character, as it were, when she's gone, and he's like, and they were like, are you classically trained? Have you done this before? It's really good. I think it would have been nice to see like at least one little moment where you see it's almost like Bonnie's imagination where they're having their tea party and see. I know they didn't do that. That would have been nice to see.
Estoy rodeado por criaturas extrañas y desconozco sus intenciones. ¿Quién anda ahí? ¿Amigo o enemigo?
Amigos. We're all amigos.
they capture him and then set him to, was it factory settings?
Yeah,
so he becomes like
reset him,
Spanish-speaking,
Spanish speaking. But what they do
eventually as well,
eventually. Yeah.
Well, so well when he goes into that Spanish speaking, the animation of him changes. Like because he becomes all like bendy and flamboyant and like extravagant and. Like obviously it's sold through Tim Allen doing the voice, or who, in fact, I don't know if it is doing the Spanish voice.
No, it's not. It's actually someone else does the voice. It's Javier Fernandez Penal.
Ah, okay.
That would Buzz in his Spanish mode.
That would make sense.
Buzz.
It's interesting though. I didn't even think about that when he does it because I'm just like, oh yeah, it's Buzz Lightyear.
But they used that trope before, didn't they? I swear in Toy Story 2, and again, sorry, eat up for spoilers.
Yeah, that's right.
Or maybe even Toy Story 1, there's like a button where he gets reset. And I suppose he always, when he first comes in, he does believe he's actually Buzz Lightyear, doesn't he? So it's kind of taken him back to that where he's like the enforcer and a bit of an arsehole. And I think they're really clever with that in the idea of something we kind of skipped over was the idea that the kind of big group that we got to know through the first two Toy Story films gets whittled down until it's like the main group. And a way of introducing new characters to this is by obviously introducing them at Sunnydale, and it just gives you so much more opportunity to create a brand new story. And like you said, there's so many different things they can lead on. The fact you've suddenly got these bad guys who are like playing cards and hanging out, and as you were sort of speaking about before, and also brings in a bunch of like new voices. Like looking down the longer cast list, I didn't realise that I obviously mentioned Timothy Dalton, but there's like Kristen Schaal, who's known for being in like Flight of the Conchords. She plays Trixie. Jeff Garlin from like Curb Your Enthusiasm and loads of stuff plays Buttercup. You've got Whoopi Goldberg plays like Stretch as well. Richard Kind, who was in like Spin City and also in like Curb Your Enthusiasm and a bunch of other stuff, plays like Bookworm. There's so many people that were like, yeah, I'll just do a role in
a few lines.
Yeah, in a Toy Story. And even like Andy's mum is voiced by Laurie Metcalf, who's like Roseanne's sister from Roseanne. I didn't realise. It's just like
the great thing about the voices in Toy Story as a general rule is it's really not about like who's who, is it? It's like even with Woody, like obviously Tom Hanks' voice is Tom Hanks' voice,
but you forget.
But you do, you totally forget because he becomes Woody. And
the only time I think that doesn't apply in a movie, and I think it's all for the right reasons, I think and it was one of the most iconic animated roles, or in terms of acting performance, was probably Robin Williams as the genie.
Yeah.
I think that's the one time where you watch a film, an animated film, and you're constantly aware that it's Robin Williams because he is so much. He is what makes the genie, the character. I think, you can maybe disassociate slightly, but you're always aware it's Robin Williams because it is Robin Williams' role. He owns that role. It's like any actor owning like a role, but it's so much a part of them. It's sort of like, I can still see them. And I think with that, like with Tom Hanks playing Woody, it's not Tom. You know what I mean? It's not Tom Hanks.
It's a fully formed character. And that voice is Woody.
Who's the new guy? Are you a real cowboy?
Well, actually...
Of course he's not pea-brain. You don't even have a hat.
I do too have... My hat!
Told ya.
And we mentioned briefly the backstory, and I think it's like
the clown, the chuckles.
The clown's amazing. The French clown
is so good, but
perfect.
Like you'd be forgiven in some certain Pixar films. They probably don't give the evil villain any depth, but what they do really beautifully in this film is they give like Lotso this very like kind of sympathetic backstory where he's basically a heartbroken toy left by Daisy, who was his owner, and the kind of doll was part of that as well.
I just love the way the Chuckles says like, you see basically Lotso gets left behind along with Big Baby and Chuckles. They get left behind at a picnic by the child obviously, but the parents are like rushing her into the car. Lotso has been replaced, so he's just like, we've been replaced. And the way Chuckles says it in the narration is he's like, something changed that day inside Lotso. He's like, something snapped. It's so good.
Something changed that day inside Lotso. Something snapped. She replaced us. Come on.
No, she only replaced you.
She replaced all of us, didn't she?
I loved the scene that made me laugh, like the Ken modelling clothes thing. Barbie needs to distract. It's so good. And she's like, I need you, they need to distract Ken. So Barbie's like, right, I'll distract him. So they go into his dream house, into his wardrobe.
Massive wardrobe.
And he goes through all these different clothes, but he tries them on. He does all these different, and it just shows how clever these guys are at Pixar when it comes to animating. It's phenomenal character animation. Like all of this is like you got in the wake of the original Toy Story, so many kind of computer generated animated features followed, and they never understood ever what made Pixar so good. There's probably, even to this day, they make animated features. These companies, around the world make features, and they're so poor because they still don't understand the heart.
Yeah.
What makes these movies work. Like Nige said, these people making these movies have a love of the thing they're working on, but also like a love of cinema. They know exactly what they're trying to do.
Storytelling, isn't
Absolutely.
it?
See daylight! We're gonna be okay!
Hey!
I don't think that's daylight.
It's amazing what this film does, and it's so obvious, but you still have to take a moment to go, wow, is how they make the real world such an epic set for these toys. Like when Woody's running about and doing things and jumping up places, he's just doing that in a house, but it feels like such a grand scale set. And it's the same with this. What we're looking at is a conveyor belt to what do you call
trash
it?
compactor burner type thing.
Incinerator.
That's incinerator. Let's use it.
Yeah.
And it's just a conveyor belt to an incinerator. But to these toys, it's a hellish, huge thing, and it's so amazing that the scale of it just feels epic. And
it's also that showing that kind of throwaway culture as well, isn't it? And a little kind of look at how bleak like some human-made things are, like how bleak the dump is, or the incinerator.
They do a great job of
they do it with the greens and the dark, and they make it hellish. Like it's really, really well done, because like Toy Story, you think, oh, this is going to be quite a nice light film, but actually this film is probably the darkest of the ones that I've seen.
I mean, this I still remember when you said we're doing Toy Story 3, I was like, oh wow, because I remember in the cinema this ending was insane. This action set
it's really well done.
Like, because it's so powerful. You've got like
the emotion is just ridiculous.
Because it's how you get two emotional scenes back to back. To be honest, you get this one and then the finale. But they're on the conveyor belt, right? And it's like, okay, then they get dropped into this big, like Smith says, incinerator. So it's exaggerated, but it's big fire pit, like fire in the middle, and all the trash sliding down. They're all trying to. They know they're sliding towards the end. They're going to get incinerated.
There's no escape, and this is
there's
the
no
end.
escape.
I remember, this is the main scene that I remember from this film. Probably the only scene I really remembered.
Yeah.
To the point as well, I remember the one thing I do remember when I watched this for the first time was like, I thought they were going to wrap it up like this, that these toys were going to die. Well, they were going to be
the way they
it was just
hands.
They were doing so together. Yeah, that they're holding hands together. They kind of understand.
This is face.
It's the look in each of their eyes. It's this. It starts off with like one character trying to hold another one's hand, and then it becomes this kind of finale of like this demonstration of acceptance. And I think that's the thing. There's no dialogue. That's the amazing thing. Is like in the hands of a shittier, like shittier point. In the hands of a crap filmmaker, they'd be going like, help, we must, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? But it's almost like
they resigned.
They're resigned. It's almost like a dignified acceptance of like, we've had this life and this is the end. And like Nige says, it's astonishing. I actually was sat there watching what technically is a kid's film, and you're thinking, they're actually going to kill him off. And I remember, like I said, the cinema was silent. Everyone was just like, and it was a packed house. I remember just everyone like, oh my God.
I was feeling myself well up watching it.
Absolutely same.
Even again, having watched this film before.
It's a scene that makes you like, gives you goosebumps. Because,
Definitely.
I mean, we know now watching it, it's like, oh, we know they're going to escape. But to still have that effect on you, like 16 years later, is astonishing. And then, luckily, it's a great payoff. The claw, the little alien guys.
So I think they get introduced in Toy Story 2 from memory.
2, yeah.
That's why they love the claw, because they love
the claw.
Out of one of those
the claw
machines,
machine?
like the grabbing machine.
But then we get this scene after, like you said earlier in the film with the writing on the box thing. So Andy donates
only
to
you
Bonnie.
can have your heartstrings pulled so many times, but
we were crying in the cinema. I remember that for this scene.
Really?
It's such a wonderfully well put together scene, and I think a lot of the heart not only comes from Andy but Bonnie, and the fact she's like hiding behind her mum and she's really shy, and you can tell she's a shy kid, but she's met Woody and sort of slowly comes out, and the way Andy, you get the final opportunity of him playing with his toys, and describing their whole backstory.
He's been my pal for as long as I can remember. He's brave, like a cowboy should be, and kind and smart. But the thing that makes Woody special is he'll never give up on you.
Nige, give us some more trivia, please, on this film.
So this film was nominated for 5 Academy Awards and ended up winning 2 for Best Achievement in Music for good old Randy Newman, and also Best Animated Feature Film. I don't know if they still do Best Animated Feature Film, whether they phase that out. Because it also got nominated for Best Motion Picture of the Year, so in the big category for that, and then Best Achievement in Sound Editing and Best Writing Adapted Screenplay. So in terms of budget, it was a massive budget, because obviously these films take tons of time, loads of animators to make, and with star names in the cast as well, it was $200 million to make.
Wow, that's a huge budget for this,
but made over $1 billion. So when you take that into account,
that's
1.067 billion to be precise.
Jesus Christ,
based on what I was
that was
reading,
in 20. You're saying that was the box office roughly around about 2010 then?
2010, yeah. So it would have been up there as one of the highest grossing films of
all time. That was a bit insane. Because I'm guessing the only one that was near that at the time, either before or after, would have been James Cameron's elf film, Blue Elf film.
Blue Man Group.
Yeah. Blue Man Group.
I'm Blue, Babadi Babada.
Smurfs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, 1.1 billion. Amazing.
I know, it's crazy. But yeah, obviously, Etok, you know a lot about animation, and the fact that for a lot of these films, they get people individually to sort of do their bits, to record their bits.
Yeah.
But Tom Hanks and Tim Allen have always insisted they record their lines together.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Which they had previously done only for one day during the original Toy Story, and obviously is rarely done. So they insisted we need to sort of have that chemistry.
Yeah,
we love the chemistry on and off screen. Let's do it together. So they kind of insisted on that, and I assume they probably did the same for 4 and 5, assuming they're both in 5. No spoilers. But yeah, we kind of touched upon the idea of obviously a lot of the toys were kind of cut down from previous films. You mentioned Bo Peep, who we lost. Yeah. She was written out actually because of, we mentioned the incinerator scene. They felt because she was made of basically, what sort of material is it? It's kind of like sort of china-y, plastic, whatever. They felt she would have melted if she had got porcelain. So for a realism perspective, the porcelain would have melted. So they were we'll write her out. But
I'm not sure you need to worry too much about realism.
No, for Toy Story 4. And there was also, I don't know if you remember Wheezy, who was like a little penguin.
Oh, yeah.
Vaguely, yeah.
So he was actually voiced by someone, I feel like we talked about this before in a previous podcast, but by a guy called Joe Ranft, who was actually cast in Cars as the fire truck Finn McMissile, but died in a car crash just before that was due to be filmed. And because of that, they actually left that character mute in the film Cars as a tribute. And obviously, because he voiced Wheezy, he was also not included in this film. So, but then there was a character as well. So Slinky was originally voiced by Jim Varney, who you may recognise as the guy who used to play Ernest.
Yeah.
And he also passed away, I think, in 2000. And one of his close friends, Blake Clark, sort of took over and did the voice.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, some of the characters will sort of carry on despite that. Although whether we'll have a Woody in 50 years' time, we will see.
Yeah. AI Woody.
Yeah, exactly. So something else about this film as well, a lot of it was based on obviously the original Toy Story. They found they couldn't actually edit any of the old 3D models because the advances in technology basically made those digital files incompatible. So everything had to be recreated from scratch. Yeah, which I imagine must have been an absolute ball ache. And I kind of mentioned about the idea of it was so hard to do the fur of the bear in the original Toy Story. But the thing they found the biggest challenge for Toy Story 3, bizarrely, well, would you take a guess at what you think it might be? Etok, looking at you here with your animation expertise.
What was the hardest? Are we talking about what was the hardest character to animate, or just in general thing?
In general. which is a bit of a clue because it wasn't a character.
You say general, I want to say the little action men, but no, in general,
I don't know. The dustbin bag kind of looks.
The bin bags,
really.
It was the bin bags because of the way the light reflected and obviously the way they moved. It was that difficult. So that's bizarre is that?
Oh, wow, that was a good guess.
And originally, actually, this film was due to be the last one, with Andy saying goodbye to his toys. They had no plans to do any more. But because of the $1 billion and because Disney. They actually did. They followed sort of the new life with Bonnie. They did 3 shorts, 2 television specials.
Wow. And
eventually a 4th film. So, but then speaking about Andy as well, obviously did Toy Story 95, Toy Story 2 1999. Quite a few years later. But no one had actually spoken to him since he was a child. And weren't sure in the slightest whether his voice would still be suitable for voice acting. And they actually called him up and got his answering machine the first time. And as soon as they heard his voice on the answering machine, they were like, we've got to get him back again.
That's pretty cool.
So, yeah.
That's so cool because they could get, for that character, anyone, couldn't they? Yeah.
Well, exactly, yeah. You wouldn't have known the difference. But they had to get a different actor to voice young Andy in that first sequence. But yeah, so that's cool. And then in terms of a couple of other bits to go through. So in terms of nods to other Pixar films, they do this commonly. I think we spoke about how the tree in WALL-E is a tree in Up is the same from A Bug's Life and stuff like that. You might notice that Bonnie has a band-aid on her leg, but if you look closely, the band-aid is actually Dory from Finding Nemo adorning it. So that's quite nice.
We didn't mention obviously one of Bonnie's toys that I don't think is there in the initial scenes we see her bedroom, but then pops up towards the end is
Totoro,
Studio Ghibli character. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah. So John Lasseter was an executive producer on all the American DVD releases of Studio Ghibli films, Miyazaki. So that was where that sort of connection came from. Yeah. So I think there was a lot of love shared between Miyazaki and the Toy Story creator and vice versa. So that was really cool as well. And then a couple of last ones. So originally, you've touched upon this earlier, this kind of split between Pixar and Disney. So around 2004, 2005, they pretty much had split up to the point where Disney started up a new animation division called Circle 7, which had been in charge of creating films for Pixar, but without anyone from Pixar. So I dread to think what they had come up with. The original plot for Toy Story 3 was actually going to be about Buzz Lightyear having a defect, being shipped to Taiwan to be fixed. And then the other toys are finding that they're replacing the broken Buzz toys with new ones, so had to go and rescue him. But then eventually the script was canned because obviously Pixar and Disney made amends, and part of their agreement when they did was that they weren't going to develop any of the projects that had been planned by either company during the fallout. So like a broken Buzz Lightyear, that idea was consigned to the dustbin. So there you go. And then the very last bit of trivia for this one is Big Baby, such an iconic character of this film, only had one line during the film, which was, of course, Mama.
I was going to say.
They actually had a bunch of babies audition to record saying the line. The name of the baby that was chosen was Woody.
Oh, wow.
And the director even said, we probably just picked it because of the name, which you can't necessarily blame him for. So that is a bit of NIGE's trivia. One thing I did want to touch on as well is the ratings for Toy Story movies, but let's do that after we've done our reviews to see how
so
IMDb...
remember to do that.
Yes. So we'll come back to that.
Well, let's see what our ratings are.
Smith will have to do some exciting editing. Well, yes, it's an interesting one because, as I was kind of saying, there's a lot of this film that I forgot, and the fact it was so long ago. But then the bits that I remember are so unbelievably powerful. I think we spoke about that opening sequence from Up, for instance, being, if it was just a standalone sequence, that's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. It transcends the movie, basically.
Exactly. And I feel like this film has 2 of them, which you would be like, oh my God, how have they been able to achieve this? And the storytelling is so smart, the way it leans on the brilliant characters. The intro is just brilliant, as we said before, like a standalone movie. Like Randy Newman's hitting all the hits. Like it kind of nods back to the original films as well, so well. But I would say there's maybe a tiny bit of a lag during the middle, even though the brilliant escape stuff that happens and the characters they introduce, I think maybe just for this tiniest bit it doesn't hit the heights. But it's for such a small period, and it's such a well-defined, well-crafted, well-edited film that runs. It isn't like overly long, even with all those characters. You don't ever feel that lost. So even despite that, I just think it's an absolutely brilliant film. And it just goes to show that just because it's got a 3 after the title, it's not just a churned out film that's let's just make some money. Maybe that comes with 4 and 5. I can't remember 4 that well to remember if it was or not, but I feel like there was potentially a drop off in quality. Is this as good as the original Toy Story? I think it might be better, which is crazy really to say. Is it up there with the very best of other Pixar films? Yeah, it probably is for me. Like, I'm not sure if it's quite as good as WALL-E and Up, but it's really difficult, and I'm starting to stall a little bit because I'm like, is it this or is it this?
Yeah.
It's at the top of the scale. It's not right at the top of the scale. For me, I'm probably going to fall on a 9 out of 10.
Oh, he went there.
And I was close to go 8.
Not a 9 out of 10. He's gone for a 9.
He's gone for a 9.
I've gone for a 9 out of 10. This has got the NIGE seal of approval, everyone. Thumbs up.
Wow.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll echo Nigel's review probably 100%. I think he hit everything. Like, it is just no. In the best possible way. It's something where, like Nige, right? What's the plot of Toy Story 3? If you'd asked me, I would remember the vague plot, but like Nige, I wouldn't have been able to remember the scenes except those last 2 scenes, which are just so. And the opening scene, which is like the big Wild West thing, I did vaguely remember that. But those 2 ending scenes are so powerful that, like the montage in Up, they transcend the movie, and you just go like, oh, that's filmmaking right there. That's storytelling. That to give you goosebumps, to make you shed tears over animated characters is because you're so fully invested in them. And I don't think you need to see the first movie or the second movie to feel that for these characters, because I think this movie does such a great job of, like I say, from the moment they open their mouths in this movie, they're all so incredibly well-rounded. It's ludicrous. Like, at times, you know, you forget that you're watching, and you know, I use this term loosely, a kid's movie. It's like, I always say that any animated feature, any cartoon, if it's done right, it will appeal to everybody. Yeah, you can target a certain age range, but you can also go like, well, you know, we've got a message in here. And I think this film, like, I think what hit us at the cinema so much, like my friends and I, when we went to see it, was that thing of your youth. And it's a really beautiful story in that it reminds you of that innocence, that your imagination, and that you never get those days back. Like, I think that's what is so perfect about the end scene, what kind of puts that lump in your throat. And it's crazy to kind of look at a film and kind of rate it based on that. But I think that narrative is throughout the movie. Like, you've got these great characters and you've got these great scenarios, and yeah, like Nige says, the story does lag a little bit in the middle, but again, it's like, it's not, it sounds weird, it's not lagging in a bad way. You're not like, oh, is this scene going to end? Every scene serves the next one. This film flies by in the best possible way. I think you can have a third film that is better than the first 2, and I think, yeah, maybe it's because of what's been established before. Maybe the writers and those making this film knew exactly who these characters were at this point. But if I remember rightly, Toy Story 1 was pretty amazing. But I think the love of Toy Story 1 was also because it was like that. I remember it was like groundbreaking first animated feature, kind of like all CG. I'm sure there may have been 1 or 2 others here and there, but this was like the one. But yeah, I think this film's fantastic. I don't think it's a 10, but I agree with Nige. It's a solid 9.
Man, obviously you haven't seen Toy Story 2. I think had this franchise finished at 3, you could be forgiven for saying this is potentially one of the greatest trilogies ever made, because 2 and 3, I can't quite remember where 2 sits because I haven't watched it as recently. But I think a lot of people consider 2 the best.
Okay. Well, we'll hear on the IMDb ratings.
Okay. So 3 for me, I would probably put as my favourite. But it's really hard to pick because, like you said, 1 is so good for other reasons and 2 is excellent as well. I think 4 does drop off a bit, but it's still really strong. But yeah, you know, if you think about trilogies in general, there's always one film that is probably slightly weaker. And I would say with Toy Story 1, 2 and 3, there really isn't. You said something in your review, Ito, about like the nostalgia of it, and it does feel like nostalgic, this film, even though, you know, it's kind of made like, you know, in 2010, which is brilliantly done with the kind of storytelling techniques that they use. But then there's big adult themes in it. There's, you know, this sense of kind of growing up and coming of age. I think in like Toy Story 1, what they did really well is you barely feature like the humans' faces. You see that more in this film, but you never feel like it's like, you know, the human story. We touch on their little brief stories, like Bonnie, you know, you can clearly see like her kind of development and Andy moving away. But it is, like I said earlier, it is about these characters that we've kind of grown to love. And then when you bring in other characters that you barely know, and you're like, oh wow, but I know them so well. I know, you know, the baddie, and I kind of feel sympathy for the baddie, but he is a baddie, and it's so well played and written and edited. And, you know, I'm not sure I agree with like you guys on the lagging thing. I didn't feel that in this. For me, it was just like from start to finish, I was just, you know, fully on board. But again, like both of you, it's not quite a 10. I'm gonna also agree and go for a 9 out of 10 though. It's a fantastic
999
film.
Emergency.
So where does in the Toy Story universe, where are we?
So bizarrely, 2 of the films have exactly the same rating.
Wow.
The lowest rated film with a 7.6
is 1.
It's Toy Story 4.
Okay. Still bloody high though, isn't it? So
that is extremely high. Toy Story has an 8.3, which is the same as Toy Story 3.
So Toy Story 2 is what Smith's saying is, I'm not going to guess it's...
No, it's 7.9. It's slightly weaker. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember it not being quite as good. I remember there being some very good bits in it, but Andy Peters let the whole team down.
Andy Peters.
Well, there you go. That's our reviews. That's the internet's reviews. But what are yours? Get in touch and let us know on offradarpod@gmail.com. Tweet us, X us at Offradar Podcast on Facebook, on YouTube. And yeah, what do you think? Where are you on Toy Story?
Who, me? Them.
No, you're my favourite deputy.
Oh, we didn't say any of the lines.
Oh, no,
somebody's
lines.
Poisoned the water hole.
I've got the shit.
We got a steak in my boo.
I've got a Woody.
I've got a knife.
Yeah.